This is part of a series of short videos that I am making on theology and psychology. This video here is on intuition and pride. Intuition or instinct is the way we react to something instinctively without thinking. And some people say, well, aren't we always thinking? How can we do anything without thinking? Well, there are different centers in our brain that are active, and we have learned this through MRI technology. And the frontal lobe is active for logic. So when we say that we do something without thinking, we mean we're not engaging the frontal lobe. There's brain activity going on, but the logical center, the area of the brain that we process logic with, is not involved. And so in this video, I want to talk about this instinct when we do things without using our logic center, and then how pride plays into that. To give you an example, let's say that you're walking down the sidewalk and you come to the corner and you step off the curb, and just as you step off the curb into the crosswalk, a great big truck comes zooming towards you, and you instinctively jump back onto the sidewalk. And in fact, you don't even think about it. Once you're standing back on the sidewalk, you realize what happened. So you don't even realize what happened until you have already jumped back onto the sidewalk. And that is an example of our brain making a decision for us without our frontal lobe engaged, without the logical center of our brain engaged. But that's not the only time. Our brain often makes decisions, lots of times, lots of decisions based on intuition, based on our instinct, without us sitting and reasoning and thinking the situation through. Before we go any further, I want to remind you that I do have a website, and that is www.postumcafe.com. It is an online clinic. We provide spiritual mentoring and psychological help for troubled families or individuals. If you're having any emotional difficulties, feel free to log on to our site and check out our counselors there. So to get an idea of how intuition or instinct works in our lives, we take a look at the rider and the elephant. Take a look at this picture here. And in this picture, we have two brains, right? We have the elephant's brain and we have the rider's brain. Well, the elephant represents instinct, okay, or our intuition. And the rider, his brain represents our logic. So we get introduced to somebody and we have a bad feeling about them. That's intuition. We have no logic going on there. We know nothing about the person other than what we can see. So we might know if they're male or female. We might know what type of clothing they wear, the color of their skin. If they open their mouth, we might hear an accent. But we don't have any real good knowledge to judge them on. We don't know what type of education they have, what religion they're from, what their job is, if they're responsible, irresponsible, if they have addictions. We don't know anything substantive about them. Everything we know is superficial. But intuitively, we have a feeling. Okay, it is very difficult because our pride comes in. It is very difficult to override that intuitive feeling. So we get a bad feeling about somebody, and now it's very difficult for them to change our mind about them. And this could apply to anything, not just meeting somebody, but our religious beliefs, our political beliefs, where we have a certain, intuitively, we have a reaction to something based on our religious beliefs or based on our political beliefs or based on our past history. We have an intuitive reaction, and then the logical center of the brain wants to defend. This is just how pride works. It wants to defend our initial reaction, our intuitive reaction. So, let's say, for example, somebody offends us and we snap at them, we yell at them, we say something ugly to them. Okay, we do that reaction is intuitive. We did not sit down and logically think out, should I scream at this person? Should I use any foul language? Should I call them any names? Should I insult them? We didn't sit down and have a thinking session and decide how to react to the person. We just instinctively reacted. The logical center of our brain was not engaged. But after we do it, now the logical center of our brain kicks in. And do you know what the logical center of the brain is going to do? It's going to do one or two things. It is either going to switch into defense mode, where it's going to defend the intuitive action, that instinctual action that we just took, or it's going to go in an analytical mode and it's going to analyze what we call inspection. It's going to analyze whether or not we just did something right or wrong. Okay. Vast majority of time, because of pride, where pride wants to go is into justification. Pride wants the logical center of the brain to justify the reaction. It does not want introspection. Pride does not want us to analyze our behavior, and if we're wrong, admit that we're wrong. That's not what it wants to do. Pride wants to always justify what we just did. And so what happens is the rider that is up there on the elephant's back is either going to be the elephant's attorney, that is, defend the elephant, even if the elephant is guilty, defend the elephant, or will be the elephant's psychiatrist, and that is, evaluate the elephant to see whether or not the elephant's reactions were correct. What about your rider? Do you have a lawyer on your elephant, or do you have a psychiatrist on your elephant?